Bonjour à tous, good afternoon. I'm Guylaine Baudry, Vice Provost Digital Strategy and University Librarian. Welcome to this this year's first talk of the President's Speaker Series on Digital Futures. So we are here in the MB, and we are live streaming for the first time our events to the Loyola campus. We have our colleagues over there. We'll see. It's an attempt to bring our two campuses closer. As part of this series, we invite leaders of the digital to share their perspective and spark dialogue and our thinking on how the digital shapes the present and future of our university. Universities are living through a period of profound transformations. The digital is at the heart of these transformations and really is reflected in everything we do. Concordia University wants to provide digital environments that best meet the needs, experiences, and aspirations of all members of our community. We want to make our digital strategy a distinctive feature and a strategic advantage for our students and our university. Our roadmap that we created based on your feedback includes 8 projects that contribute to shaping a next generation university. We made a lot of progress in the last few months. You will hear more from us in the coming weeks. As part of the process to engage Concordians in conversations and reflections about the digital world, I invite you to leave your name at the registration table at the end of this event if you want to contribute in one of the consultation activities that we are organizing this semester in one of our 8 projects. Results will be presented in the coming month. Today we welcome Olivier Palmieri, Director of l'Atelier XR at Ubisoft Montreal. Olivier Palmieri is the official trainer of the rational design methods at Ubisoft. Expert in gameplay, game design and level design, and virtual reality, he has provided training programs in game design methods and levels for more than 600 Ubisoft designers. Olivier has worked on various projects, the Rayman series, Ghost Recon, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, etc. He is the creator of Eagle Flight, the first virtual reality game published by Ubisoft and winner of the DICE 2017 award for technical achievement in immersive reality. He has been working on in the video game industry since 1998 as a creative director, game director, level design director, and international design trainer. His goal is to harness the power of virtual reality to create fun, intuitive, and immersive experiences. This event is also in the context of the partnership between eConcordia Knowledge One and Ubisoft, and I'm very happy to see our colleague Robert Beauchemin, who's a CEO of Concordia Knowledge One. So we have a partnership between Concordia and Ubisoft in the development and creation of XR learning experiences. And one of these projects is part of the digital strategy. We will hear more about these in the coming month. But if you want to ask Robert any details, I think you're more than happy to answer questions at any point. After the presentation of Olivier, we will have some time for a few questions. But for now, please help me welcoming Olivier Palmieri. Olivier.
Merci beaucoup. Hello. So we'll be talking today about some of the initiatives we are doing at Ubisoft in digital education. 3 projects in particular that I'm working on, which are Rabbids Coding, the Game Creators Odyssey, and l'Atelier XR. And 2 of those are in partnership with Knowledge One and Concordia University. So thanks for the introduction, Guylaine. So I've worked on many brands and IPs and games of Ubisoft, various. I love variety that my job can offer. And more recently on Eagle Flight, a VR title, and on those 3 projects. And so I would like to present to you the first project that we actually released just a few weeks ago. It's called Rabbids Coding. So it's in the field of education and learning with gamification. So the goal is to try to make programming more accessible, more intuitive. It's a game for kids, but also you can play it for any adults or any people, for everyone, really. And we try to make it fun and accessible. We try to show that programming can be quite simple, in fact, to understand and to grasp. And so we made it through a game using the raving rabbits, the little crazy characters that we have at Ubisoft, which sometimes are making even a VR, to show that programming is fun and simple. So I have a video to show you. The game is free. It's been announced a few weeks ago that we are giving this game to anyone. So you just have to go on Uplay and download the game, and we can even provide you with a non-offline version of the game that you can run in classes if you want. So here's the video.
Peggy 3.
So as I mentioned, it's free, and it's about understanding the logic of programming. So you're not actually writing code yourself. It's more like blocks, like Scratch. I think many of you know the program called Scratch. It's similar to that, but bringing missions to do. Because in Scratch, it's a great tool, but then you are on a blank page and you have to program yourself your game, which is great. But sometimes it can be a bit like having the syndrome of the blank page and not really knowing what to do with that. So in Rabbids coding, you have missions. You have to bring those little rabbits into washing machine to eject them from the International Space Station. That's a crazy thing. It's the rabbits thing. And through that, you will use blocks that you put in front of one another. It starts simple for sure. And then you learn about loops, about conditions, about all the things, the main things that there is in programming. And it's gamified. So if you optimize well your code, you reach 3 stars. But if you put more blocks, then we give you less stars, 2 stars, 1 star. And we saw that many people, many kids, they want to try to retry the levels to really reach the 3 stars to optimize their code. And so we do that through gamification. So even without noticing, you learn a little bit about the notion of optimizing the code. It can be used also in classrooms. So we can also provide a version that is offline. So we will be happy to send you, if you want, this offline version, and you can create your own classroom. We have a teacher's guide. You can also make your own for sure, and see how you can use the levels to introduce anyone to the notions of programming. The second project I'd like to present to you today, it's a project in collaboration between Concordia, Knowledge One, and Ubisoft, and it's called the Game Creators Odyssey. So it's based on the Design Academy that was running at Ubisoft. So there has been a big program within Ubisoft a few years ago where I trained 500 to 600 people about what we call the rational design methods. So it's a rational game design and rational level design. It's not about teaching people how to create video games, because within Ubisoft, it's already creators, it's already programmers, but it's methods to try to have another approach to think design from distance, to think about the player. It's a very player-centric approach, and this step back was very interesting for many of the Ubisoft creators, and we believe it's also quite interesting for the students. So now we are making this available to university students. So we are really we are porting this training online, and we are making it available to university students, and it's going to be also the official program run within Ubisoft. So the same program that the students can follow will be it's going to be the same program that Ubisoft employees, creators are going to go through. So it's really a professional program, professional training. It's gamified as well. So at Concordia, you are experts of education, of learning. At Ubisoft, we know a thing or two about video game, and the goal of the collaboration is to try to make gamified learning, learnification, learnified gaming, if I can say. So through the training, it's actually itself a gamified platform. There is 2 acts, and it's taking place in some of the Ubisoft universities. So the first act is based on a game called For Honor, and there's going to be another universe for the second act. And you are on a world map. You follow a story of a character. You earn experience points doing your learning, answering to trials, final challenges, questions. You also unlock some mini games that are fun. It's always fun to play some mini games, but it's also those mini games you can change the parameters of, inside it, and it allows you to understand how by changing some parameters it affects the difficulty, the flow of the game, etc. So you not only have fun playing those mini games, but you understand also the impact of the parameters, and you understand better the training. There's also some videos. We recorded many videos of Ubisoft employees to explain what is their job, their day-to-day job, and how they can use those training and methods and tools. And it's going to be a twice 40 to 45 hours training. So Act 1 is 45 hours. Act 2 is going to be 45 hours as well. So it's 90 hours of training for this program. So it's online, so you can follow the course in the bus, in the train, at home, when you have a few minutes. It's really from our perspective, but it's not just Ubisoft methods. Actually, what we try to do with this training is to have a common vocabulary between not only the Ubisoft employees in Montreal, but also internationally, and also try to make a common vocabulary throughout the industry. We didn't invent that vocabulary. We didn't necessarily invent all the tools and the approaches that is there. It's just that we try to regroup them into one program, try to set one vocabulary and one type of approach that is from many companies in the industry, from Blizzard, from Activision, from Naughty Dog, from Nintendo, etc. And we try to make it one training program. So if you follow that course, it's not just the Ubisoft way of doing video games. It's really, we try to see how the industry is developing games and regroup that into one program. Also, in the end of the course, you can create your own game concept. So it's called the paper video game. It's a bit like those pictures I was showing during the training. You have to create video games without constraints, without necessarily programming. This course is really about creativity. It's really about how to conceive and video games and to create content. It's not about programming by itself. So it's really how to be efficient in creating, into conceiving video games. And so we, during the training, we were doing paper video games with figurines and paper and wood blocks, etc. And so through the online course, you will have also to create those video games in paper and share them with the community. And so the other people, they can see those projects, vote for them, vote for the best ones, and it's giving you even more experience points, and it allows you to become a mentor. Actually, what we would like to do is that people become mentors and help the other students. So as I said, there's two acts. Act 1 is focused on what we call rational game design, and Act 2, which is coming soon, is going to be on what we call rational level design. Also, variety, motivation, flow, and prototyping. So I have a video also to show you more about the course.
Welcome to our Game Creators Odyssey, the training program that will take your students on a journey to discover innovative ways of creating engaging video games. Built on Ubisoft's recipe for developing outstanding gaming adventures and being powered by Knowledge One's know-how in creating memorable learning experiences, our training program is set up to be easily integrated into different academic curriculum formats. The training program will immerse students into real game production contexts, teaching them about a philosophy based on current design situations and supported by a community of practice. Our program is split into 2 courses. The first one, called Act 1, Rational Game Design, will explore how games are made, from player skills to game mechanics and atomic parameters. The primary objective of this first act is to help boost creativity and productivity by focusing on refining the game from the early stages to the end of the production cycle. The second course, called Act 2, Rational Level Design, takes an in-depth look into ways of creating immersive game worlds and providing players with enjoyable game experiences, ensuring variety, players' constant motivation, and great game flow. Deployed on Knowledge One's proprietary learning management system, our program offers your institution quick and easy ways of administrating your users and generating reports, keeping track of students' performance throughout the course. Contact us to learn more about our license packages and the ways we can adapt our solutions to your needs.
And finally, the last project we are working on currently between Knowledge One, where we have quite the team of Knowledge One here in the room also. It's called Atelier XR. So I'm going to explain what is Atelier XR after. XR means extended reality, so it's how we group the technologies we call augmented, virtual, and mixed reality. The term used in the industry today to regroup those technologies is XR. Just a little bit of background. At Ubisoft, we've been working on VR since 2014, so that's we were quite a small team at the beginning, kind of an indie developer, and trying to work and play with the VR headsets that were present at that time. And we worked on many prototypes actually, and some experiences that we published. One was called Inside Notre Dame. So it was about visiting Notre Dame de Paris, which burned unfortunately recently, as we know. And so it was really a multi-user experience that we showed at Chromatic and at C2 Montreal 2015. And it was 5 to 6 people going inside Notre Dame together. So it was a social experience. We wanted to show already back then that VR could be social. And also there was a guide guiding the people through Notre Dame, explaining the Renaissance context, the Revolution context, and many of the contexts that happened in history through Notre Dame de Paris. In parallel, what we tried to study was motion sickness. We heard that VR, there was an issue with the VR that is still true today, that it's nausea. VR can unfortunately bring some motion sickness, some nausea, and we try to study why. So we try to study the inner ear, we try to study how the humans perceive the world, how the vision system works, what is the synchronicity between the inner ear and the vision. So the vestibular system actually is what links the inner ear motion, what you detect inside your inner ear, and what you see. And we try to study all of that. What we discovered is that nausea, motion sickness, simulation sickness, seasickness, car sickness, it's actually always the same base, the same thing. It's when what you perceive, what you see, is disconnected, is not synchronized perfectly to how you sense motion in the world. In a car, for example, if you read a book and your book is not moving much because you take it in your hand and you stabilize it, the car may be moving, maybe turning, and in the corners, your body may feel, your inner ear will feel that your body is moving into the corners, but your vision system will understand that, or will see that it's actually not really moving. And so that's what causes motion sickness. That's why you have to look at the road sometimes when you want to get back in health. It's on sea, it's the same. In space, it's a bit the same. It's because in space, there's no gravity, and the inner ear system works with gravity. So the brain does not receive that information of motion and can trigger motion discomfort. One word on why. It's a defense mechanism from the body. It's actually thinking that it might be a drug, it might be a poison, and so it's trying to eject the poison. The fact that we don't see what we feel at the same time might be the act of a poison, and so the body is trying to eject that poison as quickly as possible, which is not helping us in those contexts, but that's what is happening. So based on that, what we thought is, why don't we try to respect at all time what you see and your body motion actually. So we thought of using your head as a controller. So when you want to turn, you actually have to turn your head to look this way. And so your inner ear understands that motion, and your vision confirms the same motion exactly, and it works. So if we were to build a game that would be as comfortable as possible, we would have to use the head as a controller. And that's what we did actually. So based on that research, we did the research first. And how can we build a game where you can use your head as a controller and move in 3 dimensions? You could be in space, you could be underwater, or you could be maybe a bird flying in the sky. And that's why we created the game Eagle Flight. It's really based on the research, based on the discovery to make a VR title comfortable, even if there is a lot of motion. So I have a video of the game if you don't know it. what we found through those controls, actually, so we made really the controls to be comfortable for VR at first, but what we discovered along the way is that it's super precise, it's very, very precise, controlling with your head, not having to interface with your fingers to control a joystick that has some effect in the game, makes this type of control very, very precise, actually, even more precise and reactive than any other type of controls that you could have with your hands. It's from the brain to your neck muscles, and it's very, very fast and precise. It's also very intuitive. You can play the game without controller, and quite comfortable for most. And so based on this type of approach of trying to understand the device, to try to look for innovation through R&D, we are creating today in partnership between Concordia, Knowledge One, and Ubisoft, l'Atelier XR. As I said, XR is the term now regrouping virtual, augmented, and mixed reality. Those three being augmented is when you trace, you overlay information over the real world. Mixed is really when the engine, the software, understands the objects, so it knows that there is a couch, there is a lamp, and it can play with it, and elements can hide behind it, and there's an understanding really of what is in the space. And virtual is really being immersed and go into another world completely. So l'Atelier XR is a space. It's a space we have at Concordia, and we create projects. Actually, it's going to be the next slide. So we are still, we arrived in that location a few weeks ago, so we are still setting up computers and VR headsets and everything up. And what we want to try to do is to understand needs of various industries. So we start with education for sure. Again, Concordia has lots of expertise into education and learning, and we would like to know better about it with this partnership. But also, we would like to see if there is some needs, maybe in healthcare, in simulation, in engineering, in other industries, and how we could collaborate and create and develop together. We would like to develop, to partner with startups and small businesses and to co-develop those experiences. So we have some experience in VR. We know that in the great ecosystem of Montreal, there is also many companies, many startups, sorry, that are doing great things in the XR ecosystem. Whether it's hardware, whether it's software, a treadmill or great software, there is Fake and Paul, for example. We would like to also collaborate with them, partner with them, and see how we can mix our expertise to make great content. And also the last element of that is the innovation aspect. So what I described in Eagle Flight is really the same process that we would like to go through now, to continue to do, try to solve problems, try to go to see what VR and AR and MR can bring to enhance education, to enhance simulation, to solve problems for healthcare, for training. And so we would like to have really this innovation process and do it with academia, so do it with Concordia students and professors, and see how we can collaborate to create innovation. One example of innovation that we are thinking about is using the VR devices inputs. So VR headsets, usually they understand, they have a very, very accurate information on where you are looking at, what is your position in space, what is your orientation of your head, of your hands, of your fingers now, and also it's coming with your pupil. So where you are looking at very precisely, your eye tracking. With that information, what if we could make VR more social? What if we could make the content in VR and the virtual characters adapt to you, adapt to the way you are talking, the way you are reacting, to what you are looking at, and so to enhance even more learning and education. So some examples, it could be in games, but it can be also in training programs. We could imagine a speaker in front of a crowd that would like to get better. So we could simulate a virtual crowd, analyze the way the speaker is moving his hands, is looking at the crowd, the way he's speaking. Is he speaking too quickly, too slow, etc. And we could, through those virtual entities, before he's going to do the real thing in front of people, he could train to try to get better. We could imagine the same thing if you're in an hospital and you have people coming at your desk and that have emergencies, that have complaints, that have really problematic cases. And before making mistakes, maybe if you're at the desk and not really handling very well those people, maybe you could train before that in VR, have those virtual entities react to you and help you to become a better at your work or better in your passion. For sure, in education with students and kids. The last picture is Walmart that started already to do those kind of trainings for their employees. For sure, there's many companies doing that. Walmart is just one example, but they are training their employees for the Black Friday, which just happened, by the way. So before the other 364 days of the year, it's not easy to simulate, to ask 500 people to rush into the store. So you can simulate that in VR and you can train your employees. What we would like to do, it's also be a team player to help the community or to partner with the community. So as an example, we organized actually a few weeks ago, thanks to Concordia, to Knowledge One and Unity, a summit, a conference, the Developer Day of Unity in Montreal. And so we partner with Unity to try to give the latest news about this engine and how to use it better, etc. So we would like to continue to do events like that, even beyond when we will be set up to create newsletters and ways how we can partner and communicate with the community. Just the quick words also on some other technologies. So augmented reality, today, as you know, you can use augmented reality using your phone, ARKit and ARCore, but also you can use AR glasses like Magic Leap, HoloLens, or Unreal, or other hardware like that. So it's also very useful to train yourself. The key difference between augmented reality and virtual reality is that augmented reality enhances the location you are already in. So you could be in front of a pipe if you want to understand how to fix a water pipe, for example, and it could augment, it could enhance, so to understand what are the instructions to fix the pipe. Virtual reality is really bringing you to another world. So it's not one technology that will kill the other one. It's really, they are very complementary, and it's actually the same technology. All the manufacturers, whether it's HTC or Valve or Sony or Facebook, etc., they are working to create one and only one device in the end that is going to be able to switch between augmented and virtual reality. So augmented reality is very cool to augment, to simulate a body in front of a t-shirt of someone, to understand better biology, to simulate machinery. It's for training, it can be very interesting for surgeons, for engineers, to also, when you are doing meetings, again, the social aspect of people working together, sharing the same information that is augmented, that is enhanced. And virtual, first in terms of devices, this year we saw what I would call the generation 2 of VR devices, which are completely wireless, completely standalone. So you don't need anymore a computer or a console. It's really all-in-one integrated headsets. No wires also. That's really liberating. And so in the future, manufacturers are going really into that direction where it's as wireless, as small, as lightweight as possible. So as Ubisoft, that's one example of experiences we recreated in VR. So that's been made actually by a team in Paris. It's called Cité Millénaire, and it's about recreating historical sites. So in VR, you can not only bring people somewhere else, but also recreate things that do not exist anymore. And so that was an experience recreating some cities that have been damaged, unfortunately, by war, and to preserve them for eternity. What we can imagine in VR and what is happening currently is also training. So when you have, when your job is risky, when it's difficult to reproduce the context, you could train like firefighters in VR, and so you don't risk your life. It's easier to set up, and it's very useful for that. It's great to explore the world also. This is really, in my opinion, one of the best VR experiences and applications that you can find. It's Google Earth, but in VR, you really have this perception of depth, of 3 dimension, and you can go and you can land anywhere. So not only you can really explore the world, for sure, like you can do on a PC, but in VR, you can be really there. You can understand the scale of things, the scale of the Duomo of Firenze, the scale of castles, etc. You can even go and land anywhere. So if you want, you could go on the roof of that castle and see what is the perspective from there. Something that you can't do in real life, actually. So you can go into location and land into some places that you can't do in real life. So it's not replacing real life for sure. It's giving you some indication on how it is in some location. It's great also to be able to travel there, but it's also ways to go there, to go where you can't do sometimes, can't go. VR can bring you to Earth, but it can bring you also in the galaxy or in the universe. That's actually a quite old software. That's one of the first experiences I did myself. It's called Titans of Space, and it's showing you the scale of Earth compared to all the planets in the solar system, and the sun compared to the other stars. The key thing that happened to me here a few years ago is that I got a memory, I got an understanding of the scale of the stars compared to the sun. That was amazing to me. If you read in a book, in my perspective, if you read in a book that some stars are 1 million times, 1 billion times bigger than the sun, probably in a few weeks after, you will forget about it, not really remember the scale or the number. Actually, I don't remember it. But I remember that in VR, it puts you next to the sun and next to the giant stars, and you really have to. I remember that I did that. I had to pick and to look at how giant was the star, and this is a feeling, this is a memory that I will remember for my entire life, let's say. But it's more memorable than reading the stars was 1 million times bigger. I don't remember the number, but I remember doing that. So I think VR has this power of making memories, of creating experiences, of creating emotions that can help better understand and better remember. You can go into other planets also. That's an augmented reality experience where you can go to Mars. So actually, based on all the pictures they've taken from the rover on Mars, they have recreated the space in 3D. And today in VR or in AR, you can go on Mars yourself. So again, I don't think I'm going to go on Mars one day. I would like to do it, but in VR, I went there. I was even with some other people discussing on Mars, on the real Mars. I mean, it was really the real scale, the real pictures of it. And that's something that is beyond just seeing it on the screen. I recommend to try to do those kind of experiences. And finally, as I said, we can hear sometimes that VR, it's something that makes people not social because you put on your VR headset. But actually, yes, when you put you can put your VR headset, you don't see the people around you, but you can go in places with people that have also those VR headsets. In 2015, we did the exploration of Notre-Dame de Paris with 6 people that were walking and discovering Notre Dame, and a guide explaining Notre Dame from Montreal. We could imagine going to Mars in VR with multiple people explaining, guiding, having a professor explaining things, more than just showing pictures of Mars. Hey, let's go on Mars together, and we will talk about it, and we will discover Mars. So I believe that VR and AR has this power of connecting people, or being very social, actually, if we use it well. If we make social experiences, it has the power to reunite even more people that can be spread around the world, or that can be in the same room, but go visit places and learn and discover things together. Thank you.
What a world of possibilities, opportunities, ideas you're opening to us. It's really amazing. So we have 10 minutes for questions and comments. We'll have our colleagues from Loyola. So if at Loyola you want to ask questions, simply go to the microphone and ask your question. That's cool. I hope that you followed well and you had all the information that we had here. And here at on the Sir George William campus, you can go to one of the two microphones that we have in the room.
So you talk a lot about gamification for learning purposes, and we have young kids, most of us, and we see how gamification can really work in various levels. But do you have any advices to give us as to how to bring gamification in a very effective fashion with adult learning? You know, so such that it doesn't come across as a kludgy or tacky, but really effective learning enhancer.
That's quite a big subject, for sure. I will unfortunately not be able to answer to all the possibilities there. But fun through the edges for humans and even for animals, I would say. Animals like to have fun, and it's embedded into our DNA. And so when we can track some kind of progress, when you have like some kind of already a universe that you immerse the people into, through your learning, when you allow some interaction, when you allow some people to be creative, to propose their own project, to manipulate things, to see how they can change and evolve. That's interactive. That's a way for people to better understand and better remember. I don't think it's really that different for adults than for kids. It's not necessarily the same games or the same type of gamification, for sure. It's not the same type of universe, but it's I believe no matter if you're an adult or a kid, everyone wants to have more fun, to be entertained, and when you are entertained, usually it's good to be engaged and to learn better and memorize better. So it's a big subject. It's about interactivity and creativity and rankings maybe and universe and worlds, etc. We would be happy maybe to discuss it further and see maybe how we could bring more gamification into your courses or what you are teaching or what you are doing. But I think it's a big subject. We would be happy to dig into that and to talk about that after. So don't hesitate to. I have some business cards also I can give to you if you want.
Other questions? Yes, please go to the microphone for our colleagues at Loyola so they can hear you. At Loyola, if you have a question, just go to the microphone, please.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I'm not sure to understand. How much time goes into that each hour? Ah, okay.
So the question is for our colleagues: how much time? How many hours does it take to develop the program? I think
the program in overall. It has been taking us 2 years actually to do the course. So it's around 2 years that we are working on it currently, and we are just finishing with the team the course, so to be complete. But it's a long process. We really wanted to make it the best as possible. So we use actually kind of a similar process that we are doing at Ubisoft for our production, where we develop, then we playtest. So when we say we playtest, we propose the program to a limited amount of people, and we let the people test the course, and we listen to the feedback, and then we do one round of improvement, and then we test again, and we really try to refine the course like that. And it takes some time to create those moments to share the course and listen to the feedback and make some implementation, etc. But we believe that we will have as refined as possible course. We listened really to the people that tried the course, and we are still even refining it, listening to feedback. And so that's one of the reasons also why it took 2 years. Also because we refreshed the course, so it's been around 10 years now that I'm teaching it, within Ubisoft. But we refreshed the examples. We also made it standalone, so I don't need to be there behind each student. So all of that and the gamification and everything, it took quite a long time to do.
We have time for one more. Yes, I think that microphone is working well. Okay, for the two, that's fine. We have time for two. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I had a question concerning the rhythm of the course, whether if you involve in VR, is there an effect on the rhythm of the course itself?
So the course itself is not in VR. The Game Creators Odyssey, it's an online course. It's not yet in VR. But you can take your time. You can take as long as you want. In fact, it depends how the university wants to provide it. If the course can be meant for a 3 months cursus or 6 months, or it depends on what the university can do. And as it's online, you can come back to it at home or anywhere in the bus, as I said. And you can really also come back to the course that you've seen already. So you take your time. We believe that by taking your time, by submitting all the little workshops that there is, it takes 40 to 45 hours in total, but at your own pace.
Thank you.
Okay. And we have one last question here.
Hi. So I've been really interested in the Odyssey since it was announced, I think September 24th or somewhere around there. So where exactly would we be able to sign up for this? Or is this something that's really held in a classroom, or that has to be presented with a teacher and then you would connect to that class? So I guess probably.
Hi there. That's an excellent question. This is something that we are right now assessing and evaluating with the university. There are several places where the course could be integrated, actually, different faculties. One of the first way that we have discussed is with Gina Cody Engineering School, where for some of the people in computer science, it's going to be embedded in an actual course in game development. There's also other groups. There are other groups of and other faculties that exist here at Concordia. I think the best way to put it is we're trying to find a way where it could be offered to all students at Concordia across faculties. It's not something that is easy to do because it's not exactly the way we're structured right now, but this is something that we're working on, and we'll have to keep you posted. But it's actually, I have a meeting on that tomorrow, so about that and how we're going to embed it. You have to think that we're the victim of our success. Act 1 is already out. Act 2 will be in how long? I'm looking at the development here. No pressure. So let's say early 2020, Act 2 is going to be ready. So what it means is that lots of people just like you are highly interested in enrolling in the course. It's not done yet. It's Act 1 is ready. Act 2 will come next semester, and then you'll be informed very quickly on how to enroll, how you can get into that. But this is still under discussion. Okay.
Just kind of
Sure.
a quick follow-up. So would it be more offered in a classroom, or would this be an eConcordia exclusive class?
Kind of both. It's online, it's fully online, but it will be within programs. So it will be embedded in existing courses that you'll have. So it will be like, let's imagine a course that a portion of it could be in classroom, and let's say, I don't know, a certain, I don't know, 10, 15%, and the rest is entirely online. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Robert. So thank you very, very much, Olivier. It was really, really interesting. And thank you, Robert, as well. Thank you to you for coming today. Thank you at Loyola. It was great to have you this way. We'll continue to explore. We have three more conferences coming, three more talks in 2020, one on data, one on open educational resources, e-textbooks, and our Minister for the Digital Plan for Quebec is going to visit us as well. So you can go on our website and register if you want to attend one of these. Thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon. Goodbye.